Hi, welcome everyone. My name is Karen Brownlee and I am the Adult Program Coordinator with the North Suburban YMCA in Northbrook, Illinois. And in that role, I bring to you a variety of adult programs, things like brain games, and we do some social networking. We have a social club that gets together. We do donation drives and fundraising events, and we reach out and try to help others in our community. But one of my favorite things that I do with adult programming at the North Suburban YMCA is the Adult Education Series, which you are attending today. I am very fortunate to bring in experts in their field to talk to you about their areas of expertise and hopefully have you learn something from them. Today is always a special day for me because we have one of my favorites here, Dr. Paul Nevin, who is a psychologist in Barrington, Illinois, and his company, right, Barrington?
Bannockburn.
Bannockburn. Oh, I was so close. I was picturing Bannockburn and saying Barrington. I'll let him tell you a little bit more about himself, but we're very lucky because he's been doing this with us for, I think this is your third year.
Yeah, I think you're right.
That you've done a series of meditation programs, and we are lucky enough to have him return to us next year, January through June, on the second Tuesday of the month at 11:15. Save March. March, he's going to be doing it on the third Tuesday, but I'll remind you of that in February. But he will be doing this for us again, another meditation series, which we're really, really happy to have him do. So thank you, Dr. Nevin, for this. Thank you for that. Thank you all for joining us today. I'll let Dr. Nevin give you a little bit more information about himself, but I will also ask you to please mute yourself so that as he's going through the meditation practices, the background noises and your space don't interfere with everyone else's opportunity to meditate. I'm going to do the same thing. So thank you all for joining us again today. And Dr. Nevin, thank you. Once again, this is the culmination. This is part 4 of a 4-part series, but he will be doing a 6-part series next year, and we'll keep asking him back as long as he's willing to come. And again, thank you all for joining us. I will let you take it away, Dr. Nevin.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back, or welcome if this is your first time. As Karen said, this is part 4 in our 4-part meditation series, which we've now done a couple of times at the Y. If you are new, let me refresh you about how we structure this. The 4-part series, basically the first of the 4 parts is sort of an intro and a little more theoretical, an intro and introduction to meditation, talking about what is meditation, how do you meditate, what does the science say, and then just a little bit of sort of an experiential practice at the end. For the second, third, and fourth, we try to emphasize a little bit more practice time. I aim for half to 3/4 of meditation with just a little bit of an intro to what we're focusing on that week for the second, third, and fourth sections. The second one we did already, and it was the emphasis was on the breath. And then we also talked about using a focal word, like a word or phrase that you repeat over and over again as a meditation focus. Then the third section, we focused on 2 different things. One was imagery and how to use guided imagery in meditation. And then we also talked about how to use emotion as a focus, things like loving kindness meditation or gratitude or inner smile meditation, things like that. This is our 4th section, and it's all of the things so far have been very much within the wheelhouse of sort of a scientific approach to meditation. We've stayed away from specific spiritual traditions that approach and their approaches to meditation, and just sort of taken the techniques and abstracted them into a more scientific and secular approach to meditation. Today, we're going to be a little bit more on the woo-woo side of the fence because we're going to talk about body-centered meditation. And in order to talk about that, we have to talk about an idea that is very prevalent in the Eastern and alternative and ancient traditions where meditation arises, which is the idea of vital energy. The idea that within our body, there is, you might call it an electromagnetic energy or some kind of a vital electricity kind of energy that can be activated and cultivated and utilized both for health and for productivity. And in some traditions, they see it as essential to developing your spirituality. This idea is rather foreign to Westerners, so I introduced it a little bit. But before I get into that, let me say that even if you do not if that idea does not seem true to you, or if you want to use it just as a metaphor, many traditions, even scientifically, do use the body as a focus in the same way that you can use anything as a focus. If you'll recall from our first session where we talked about what meditation is, one common definition of meditation that cuts across a lot of different techniques has the idea of focal meditation, meaning you take something as your focus, whether it's your breath, a candle flame, imagery, or a word, whatever you take as your focus, you keep a relaxed present moment focus on that thing. And when you find your mind has wandered, you bring it back. That simple definition, focus on something in a relaxed present moment way. And when your mind wanders, bring it back. That's a pretty good definition of many, many different types of meditation, which differ only in terms of what the focus is. Even a focus on openness or empty space can be said to be a focal meditation, in that you're focusing on the idea, the abstract concept of emptiness or open space. Your body can be used as your focal point. Many people will focus on a part of the body, say, for example, the point between the eyebrows, or the heart between the breasts, or the base of the spine, or the body as a whole. And the idea is there's really two, before we get into the energy idea, there's two ways that in a scientific sense this can be valuable. First of all, anything can be a focus, so you can use your body as a focus as much as you can use a candle flame, and it's a very convenient focus because it's always with you. We talked in our first session about the breath, and anything I said there about the convenience of using the breath as a focus can be said of using the body as a whole as well. An advantage to doing body focused meditation is you can do not just sitting cross-legged or in a chair, you can do either standing meditations or moving meditations. This is often, people do not associate this sometimes with meditative traditions, they're not aware of this, but in many traditions, yoga would be an example. From China, you have things like Tai Chi and Qigong. There are standing meditations. For many years, for more than a decade, I studied Taoist martial arts, and the first half hour or so of our several hour long class was just standing like a tree, sometimes holding a ball, sometimes just with your hands at your side, and just meditating on the sense of your body or a point on your body for a period of time to gather your attention before class. Then is the idea in China in particular that body meditations can be sitting or standing or moving, and each of these have different benefits and different drawbacks, and all three of them can benefit you as a package in a way that none of them can benefit you all alone. So it's hard in a Zoom class to show you things like standing and moving meditations, but if you've ever seen a Hatha yoga class, if you stay relatively silent and focus more on what your practice is and just stay in a more wordless way with what you're doing, you're meditating when you do yoga. If you were to take a walk outside and just try not to get into a conversation with yourself, but instead just say kind of focused on nature, or focused on your breath as you walk, or focused on the movements of your body as you walk in a wordless way, that's a body-centered meditation. In addition, anytime you focus on your body, I'm going to get a little bit theoretical on you here. If you remember from the first talk, we talked in the introduction about how there's an older part of our brain. I'm oversimplifying now, but you could say in a very simple sense, there's an older part of our brain that we share with other mammals, a part of our brain that we have in common with a dog or a cat or a monkey. And then there's a newer part that is more uniquely human, which is where you're going to find words and the ability to see the future and the ability to see the past and problem solving and conceptual analytical kinds of things. And these two parts of the brain, we want them to be integrated, what I call a marriage of heart and mind. The older part of our brain that we have in common with the animals is more experiential. It's more focused on things like images and sensory information and emotion. Emotion is almost like an animal's way of thinking. And then we have the newer part of our brain, which is more about talking and being able to conceptualize and see the future and the past and so on. A lot of what gets us tangled up in ourselves as human beings is this newer part of our brain, while very useful, is something we get a little obsessively over connected to the point where we can't stop our inner talk. And we get caught in this part of our mind that is really meant to be one part of us, not the whole of us. And we lose track of our totality of our consciousness. In some ways, you could say at least one goal of meditation is to quiet the talking mind enough without putting it to sleep, quiet it, but keep it awake, so that you can kind of bring the older part of your brain online and integrate it with the newer part of your brain. So in a sense, meditation is that marriage of heart and mind. And when you focus on your body, you're doing that a little more directly. You're not just calming the thinking, talking part of your mind. You're reconnecting to the present moment and the embodiedness of your physical body and your presence here in a body on planet Earth. And that can help you to reconnect to that older part of your mind as well, what some in my field call the ancestral mind. That part of our mind is useful for many things. It's not good at the things the talking mind is good at. It's not good at building bridges and finding cures to cancer and a lot of other complicated things, making plans and making tools and so on. But it's probably the part of us that is better at just feeling comfortable in our own skin, knowing how to relax, knowing how to feel good. It's where most of joy exists. If you look at a kitten playing with a ball of string, that's the ancestral mind. If you look at a dog finding a hot vent to lie on in the house, that's the ancestral mind. When you're walking barefoot in the grass or enjoying the sunshine in your face, that's more your ancestral mind. So when we focus on the body, just the very getting in touch with our bodily self instead of being up here in our head, too much cerebral, too much thinking, too much past and future and back and forth about our to-do list and moving and grasping and trying to find pleasure instead of feeling it inside of us. That's one of the goals of meditation in general, and it's facilitated sometimes by just focusing on the body mind a little bit more. Now let's talk briefly about this idea of energy work. Again, this is an idea that is not accepted by modern science. It's seen as something that belongs to ancient cultures and is not necessarily true. Some say you can use it as a metaphor. I've had some teachers, from one in particular from China, who believes that the idea of subtle energy that you find in a lot of these ancient traditions, they were really talking about biomagnetism, which is a physical force that can be measured. And there is evidence that we have a biomagnetic field and that we are affected by other biomagnetic fields, and that can be to some degree cultivated. But most of the teachers that I've had would say that there is something else going on that is not within the grasp of modern science because of its physical materialistic focus. And they would say that there is a vital energy, a force that is somewhere between the physical and what we might refer to as the spiritual. It has a quasi-physical characteristic that is almost like electromagnetism, but it travels through our body in a circulatory way like an energy body. Those of you who are familiar with Star Wars might think this sounds a little like the Force of Luke Skywalker. In fact, when I first heard about that movie when I was in my teens, it occurred to me that George Lucas and others involved in that story probably were familiar with Eastern philosophy, because they often referred to this energy as the life force. A lot of people do yoga and are not aware that most of hatha yoga is designed to balance the life force in your body. Acupuncture is designed to balance currents of life energy in your body. A lot of other traditions, including martial arts traditions in China and Japan and elsewhere, medical traditions in China and Tibet and various other places in the East. A lot of native traditions, including a teacher of mine from India had a system of energy work almost identical to one I found later in my adulthood among the Incan Indians in South America. If you look at Native American traditions, if you look at Australian Aborigines, if you look at shamanic elders in different tribal traditions, things like the Zulu in Africa, the Maori in New Zealand, and various others. If you look in Tibet, China, India, a lot of Middle Eastern traditions, some of the mystical underbelly sides of Christianity, Judaism, and Islam. All of these traditions have this idea that there is a vital energy, a life force within us that can be cultivated. And oftentimes when someone is focusing on a particular place in their body, for example, between the eyes or at the heart or at the base of the spine, what they're trying to do is cultivate an energy that they feel is in the world around us and in us, and can be cultivated, can become more can become stronger and richer, and that when it becomes weak or tangled in itself or stuck in various ways, that's one of the root causes of illness and lack of vitality. So you can take of that whatever you want or none of it at all. You can use it as a metaphor. But one of the things we're going to do today is focus on the body. And as sort of a part two to that, we're going to talk about some of the approaches to working with this idea of subtle energy. With that, I'm just going to move into a kind of a moving meditation where we're going to move from one thing to another and sample a few different versions of this. I want you to start by taking your left hand and just putting it over your navel or a little beneath your navel, and your right hand on your heart or in the center of your chest, not over your physical heart, but in what some would call the heart center, which is like between the breasts or a little above it between the breasts. And then close your eyes and just breathe and feel where your hands are and feel the presence of your body. As with any meditative practice, you want to try to stay in the present moment, just experiencing, not thinking, just observing, just being with the feeling of your body. And I want you to breathe in and out for a minute or two until I tell you to stop, and just feel your hands, feel your body, and feel as if you are connecting more deeply to your body and to the older part of your mind that is more in touch with your body. Breathe a little bit slower and a little bit deeper if that's comfortable to you, but don't worry about it too much. Working with the breath is not the most important thing here. The feeling of your body is most important. Relax deeply into the present moment. Feel yourself wherever you're sitting or lying as deeply connected to the ground through gravity. Feel the presence of your body, the reality of it, your connection to it. Now drop your left hand a little bit further down so it's a little beneath your navel, and take your right hand on top of it so both your hands are just beneath your navel. The area beneath the navel in some traditions is called the dantian, especially in China, Japan, Tibet, and elsewhere. This is sometimes referred to as sea of energy. It's seen as a place where we can gather energy and a good center for movement. As you move through your day, just keeping your attention here while you do whatever else you're doing, whether it's washing dishes, walking, doing a practice if you're exercising, just being aware as if you were moving from this center. Think of a space a few fingers down from your navel, 2 to 3 inches down from your navel maybe, and back into your body a little bit, 2 or 3 inches perhaps. Feel as if there's a center there, a ball of energy almost the size of a grapefruit, a place where you can gather energy and feel connected and rooted to yourself. In many traditions, just focusing on this is a foundational meditation that is said to improve health, wellness, and rootedness and grounding. Frees you from anxiety by bringing you back into your body and your parasympathetic system. helps the mind to still. Now, if you like, you can keep your eyes closed during this or open them partially. We're going to move to doing the meditation using the hands. I want you to take your right hand and wrap around your left thumb and then fold over. So you feel like you're holding your thumb with your right hand. In many of these systems where they talk about energy, there are different pathways that the energy takes that are associated with certain organs. And each one is said to have certain emotional aspects and health aspects. The thumb in many ways is seen as sort of your quick how-to for stress management and releasing worry. When you hold your thumb like this, it soothes the whole energy system. As my one teacher from Japan, Mary Burmeister, who taught me a system called Jin Shin Jitsu, used to say that it's not a coincidence that children suck their thumbs. They know enough to soothe their energy systems. We can do the same thing by holding our thumbs. We're not going to go through each of the fingers on each of the hands, but every finger and the thumb and the centers of the palms are all points that can be held to help tone your whole energy system. So when you have more time, if you want to, instead of just doing the thumb and the center of the palm, which we're going to do in a moment, you can hold each finger just while you're watching TV, while you're watching a movie, just each in turn, hold your thumb and then your index finger and then your next finger all the way to your pinky and then do the other hand. Now we're going to go from holding the thumb to putting the right thumb on the palm of the left hand and let the fingers wrap around the back and feel like you're activating the palm of your hand, what in Chinese is called the Lao Gun Point. This is said to connect us to our total being. Some would say our spirit, our higher self, connects us to intuition, to a higher source within us of well-being. Now a little bit more quickly, we're going to do the same on the other side. Take the right hand and wrap around with the left fingers to hold the right thumb. Feel as if you're soothing your whole energy body, dissolving worry, stress, pressure, freeing yourself to relax into your being and be at peace. Be comfortable in your own skin. Feel as secure as a child sucking its thumb by holding your thumb. Now again, doing the thumb of the left, pressing into the palm of the right, and then the fingers wrap around to the back of the right palm, holding the right palm front and back, the Lao Gun Point. Connecting to the spirit, to the totality of consciousness, to the higher self, to intuition. All right, now we're going to do a rooting or grounding practice, which is just what it sounds like. It's like a tree has roots that go into the ground that keep it connected to the ground so a wind will not blow it over. It's the strength of the tree has much to do with its root system. In the same way, I want you to feel as though you can energetically put down roots through your feet. If you're sitting cross-legged, through your base of your spine, through your legs. If you're lying down, you can say through your whole body. But especially if you're sitting in a chair, just imagine that your feet are like the trunk of a tree, and the base of your spine and your feet and legs energetically extend down into the earth like a root system. Feel as though that root system goes deep into the earth and is collecting some sort of nourishing energy from the earth. Into the ground or whatever depth seems comfortable to you. But at least as much beneath the earth as you are above the earth. Feel like there's a root system. Now we're going to work a little bit with the spinal system. The spine is key in many energy systems. In fact, you'll find that many of the physical systems from the East and ancient cultures, whether you realize it or not, a lot of what they're trying to do is increase the flexibility and nimbleness of the spine. If you look at something like Hatha Yoga, for example, today's Health Club Hatha Yoga does a lot of strength work. There's a lot of being on your arms and building strength, like plank kinds of exercises. There's a lot of stretching and things. But the key core idea of Hatha Yoga is to help the spine to be youthful, flexible, able to transmit energy easily. And this is both a matter of mentally freeing it, emotionally freeing it, and physically freeing it. In many traditions, they use the breath combined with visualization to free up the energy in the spine and to use that as a meditative focus. We're going to use this a breathing exercise now that actually there are versions of this I've seen in many cultures, but the version I'm specifically going to tell you right now is from Hawaii. It's from the Huna tradition in Hawaii. I want you to imagine a ball of white light, almost like a nectar, as if something essentially good in this light, and imagine it at the base of your spine. Imagine it maybe the size of a baseball, like a ball of light that is at the base of your spine. And then as we breathe in, I want you to feel as though the inhale brings that ball of light up to the crown of your head, clearing anything that might be blocking the spine. It moves up vertebrae by vertebrae as you breathe in. And then as you breathe out, it comes back down again through the spine to the base of the spine. With each breath in, pay attention to the top of your head and feel as if this ball of light comes to the very top of your head. And then with each breath out, feel like it goes back down again like an elevator going to the base of your spine. For a little while, I'm just going to have you breathe in and bring the ball of light up to the top of your head, and then breathe out and bring the ball of light to the base of your spine. Don't worry at all whether you feel like you know how to do this or not. Just do it to the best of your ability. You may just feel the sense of a ball of light or the idea of one, or you may actually see it in your mind's eye visually. Either way is fine. It's a little hard to focus. Just do as best as you can, and it will get better over time. Inhale, and the light goes up and clears things going up to the top of your head. Exhale and feel like the light goes down. Now we're going to do a similar practice, but a slightly different one from China called the small heavenly circle or the microcosmic orbit, which instead of going straight up the spine and straight down the spine, we're going to make an oval around the spine on the edge of the body. So the ball of light will come up your back, all the way up to the top of your head from behind, and then down the front, past your nose, on the surface, all the way down back to the base of your spine. So it's making a circle around the spine or a large oval around the spine. Breathe in, coming up the back. Breathing out down the front. Breathe light up the back. Breathe light down the front. Continue in this way, breathing up the back, and then bringing the light down the front with the exhale. Now let the ball rest at the base of your spine. The ball is white light at the base of your spine as you breathe in and as you breathe out. But it feels as though it is gathering light from the universe and intensifying and opening some dormant energy within you, as if there was a very powerful life force inside of you in a dormant state, in a sleeping state that is beginning to awaken and be activated. In several traditions, and especially in India, they have this idea of a dormant energy associated with the sexual energy at the base of the spine that can be awakened and brought back up into your own system to awaken your nervous system through different centers. There are many centers that can be awakened, but the most important are sometimes called the major chakras. Chakra is a word that basically means wheel. The first chakra is at the base of the spine, more or less. Don't worry about having the exact location. Just think about where your spine ends, where it hits the chair or where you're sitting. And feel as though now this ball of white light is awakening that base chakra and it's turning into a beautiful rose red. Each of these energy centers is associated with certain glands, nerve plexuses, and in some cases organ systems. It's said to have certain qualities. In the East, they associate different sounds and various other things with each center. We're just going to talk about some of the qualities that we choose to awaken and purify as we move through the different centers up towards the top of the head. The first center, sometimes called the root chakra or Muladhara, at the base of the spine, we see it as rose red, and we feel that this is the chakra for actualizing the feeling of being safe, secure, having an abundance of what you need in the physical world, including feeling safe and secure, but also having the things that help you to feel safe and secure, such as material resources. As you meditate on the ball of red light at this base of your spine, feel as though health is filling your body. The spiritual or higher energy is moving to a physical level to enhance your physical health and to bring to you on a physical level, on the most material, densest level, everything that you need to survive. You can rest and feel secure. Any ancient feelings of not feeling safe or secure are now being dissolved by this red rose light. feeling of peace awakens at this place that has a vitality in it, a living peace. Sense of having all that you need to have. A foundation, a root. An ability to draw to you whatever you need. Now allow the ball to move up a little bit and turn into a beautiful orange, just like the fruit. It's about that place of the lower dantian I talked before, but imagine just maybe 4 fingers beneath the navel and in a little bit towards the spine. An orange ball of light now. This point is a point of healthy sensuality and sexuality, a point of healthy pleasure, enjoying vital expression in the world, feeling positive, healthy pleasures, everything from smelling a rose to dancing to your favorite music, to enjoying people you enjoy, looking at the beauty of nature, a feeling of being enchanted with the world. This is a step beyond pure survival and security into a feeling of overflowing into joy and pleasure and enjoyment. Now feel the ball comes up a little further to a little above your navel, maybe even as far as the solar plexus, and it turns yellow, like sunshine yellow. This is the center of self and personal power. You feel a feeling of being empowered in your life, able to do the things that you want to do, able to take action effectively. You have a sense of obstacles being removed and dissolved, of insecurities being undone, of feeling able to be present and proud of your presence. Almost like the sense of someone who has stage presence. You now have a sense of yourself that you're able to project yourself powerfully in the world. The light now moves up further to the center of your chest, and the ball of light turns green. Perhaps a light spring green, sometimes flickering into the deeper greens of summer. This green of growth is the heart and your emotional center. And you feel as if all of your emotions are being harmonized. Any emotional difficulties from your life are being healed. The primary quality of this center is love. You feel your connection to all living beings, and especially to those in your own inner circles that you feel loving connections to. And you feel that the best of you is nurturing them, and the best of them is nurturing you through your heart center. Feel this energy of love helping your whole body and your whole life, as if you're loving your entire life to a higher level, accepting it, enhancing it, encouraging it, revitalizing and rejuvenating your entire being and your entire life with the feeling of loving kindness and connection, feeling of belonging. Now feel this light go a little further into the throat, and it turns to a light blue, like a sky blue. And feel that you are finding your voice, both literally and figuratively. Your ability to speak your truth, your ability to be creative. It could be any form of creativity, from being creative as a parent, a grandparent, a friend, art, poetry, writing, simply living your life as a life art, It's the feeling of your unique expression of yourself. The fingerprint of you expressed in various ways. But especially your voice. Your ability to contribute to the world through your voice. Feel that this beautiful light blue energy is now cleansing the center and freeing you from any past constraints, any feelings in the past of not having your voice, not being heard, not being validated or respected. All of that is washed away by the blue light and healed. And you feel as though you are confident in your ability to contribute to the world through your voice now. You're able to speak up for yourself and for the things that you think are important in life. Now feel the light ball goes up towards the middle of your eyes, to the point sometimes referred to as the third eye. And it turns to a deep indigo blue, a darker blue, somewhere between the light blue and purple. And this indigo blue opens your sense of vision, your ability to see truly, and your ability to see what you want to create in the future of your world. To see a vision of how you wish things could be and your ability to create that. This is the heavenly heart, the ability to command all the other centers and to awaken yourself into a higher awareness. Almost like waking up from a dream of yourself to a higher level of consciousness. Now allow this ball of light to come up one more step to the top of your head and a little outside of your head. And it turns violet. A purple light, a violet fire light. And you feel a sense of transcendence and freedom and totality. An ability to connect to all that is, to the whole of the universe and all that is real. And if you have a spiritual inclination and ability to connect to heaven, to God, to your spiritual totality. Feel that all you need is coming from a higher level and entering into your life here on earth. Coming from the infinite to this finite place and finding an expression that enhances your life. Now feel that all of these centers are active at the same time, and around you there's a bubble of light that has many little flecks of rainbow light in it, like an aura around you. The way an egg surrounds the yolk of the egg. Your body is like the yolk, and all around you there's a larger energy of rainbow light surrounding you, protecting you, enhancing you, guiding you, teaching you, bringing you all that you need. Finally, now we come back to a grounded place of releasing these images of light and ideas about centers and all of that, and just feel the simple reality of your body, your breath, the physical reality of yourself embodied. And let yourself rest for a moment, just feeling your connection to the ground. Feel that something has been cleared in you, some inner pathways have been cleared and things have been nourished and things have been healed and things have been given guided messages. And this will unfold for you in coming days and weeks and months in ways that you can't completely predict, but that you will greatly welcome. When you're ready, come back to your room. You can break your eyes open a little bit, feel your fingers and toes moving. When you feel comfortable, come back. We'll give people a moment to gather themselves, and Karen a moment to rejoin us if she's still around. And we'll see if anyone has any questions before we break.
I'm still here. Thank you. I'm going to go
While
ahead and
people are
stop our
gathering,
recording so that your questions